Hello, everybody. My name is Slavomira Harcegova. You are watching Ars Vivendi by Slavomira, and my today's guest is here to teach you how to use your voice to share your message with the world. My today's guest is speaker mentor, international MC moderator and host, and founder of the Famous Speakers Conference. It's Lovelda Vincenzi. Hi, Lovelda.
Hello. Oh my gosh, what a joy. You know I love to talk.
So you are the right person to talk about this, about the importance to share your message with the world, how to do it in the right way. We could start with how you start to your speaker career.
Okay. I mean, I think some people just innately know. I didn't know that something called moderating and emceeing and hosting existed. Like, if you haven't heard of it before, it's basically the person who introduces people to stages, or when I'm moderating, it's facilitating conversations with people on stage. So it's kind of like interviewing, but you're interviewing people in front of a live audience. I didn't know this job existed when I was like 5. So it wasn't something that I can say I always wanted to do. I did love drama. I loved debates, basically anything that got me on stage talking to people or entertaining people. I was totally into that. But as you'd expect, it's not a career choice that people think of as one that it's a tough career choice to say, Mom, I want to be a dancer, or Mom, I really want to be an actor. It's that kind of career choice where your parents kind of think, you sure you don't want to do law? You sure you don't want to? So whilst my parents were like super supportive of me having these things as extracurricular activities, at the same time they were kind of like, focus on your education, Lovelda, have this stuff as a fallback. So I went on, I did a degree in accounting and financial management. I worked in corporate sales for years, and in doing so I always had this itch to start my own business. I just had no frigging idea what it was going to be. Like, I was like, I don't know. So I went to personal development conference after personal development conference with multiple different things. Maybe I'm going to be a property investor, So I started down that route for a bit. I learned about stocks and shares, property investing, digital marketing. Then I was a coach. When I tell you, I was in and out of businesses. And in doing that, one of the things I started doing when I was coaching was I would speak. And the pulling the talks together and the getting on stage part was never difficult for me. And I used to host my own events, but I hated filling the room, but I liked the hosting. And I would get invited by friends to help out with their events and introduce people to stage. And then people would start asking me when I was doing this, can you come and do mine? And I was like, I don't know how much you charge for this. So I just made a number. Like, how much do you charge? I was like, I don't know. Like, I just made something up. And somebody would say yes. And so I did this for a while. And the coaching thing, I got frustrated with and put a pin in it. I wasn't feeling it. And then one day, what would start happening is every now and then somebody would find me on LinkedIn and reach out to me and invite me to come and host an event. And this would be somebody I didn't know. I couldn't see any obvious connections. You look and you're like, okay, shared connections. Who do we know? Maybe somebody in our network introduced us. None of that. And then they'd pay me to do this. So I thought, well, what if I just told people this is what I do? And the biggest turning point is when the first international conference found me off the back of my LinkedIn profile. And I just thought, that's it. This is what I'm going to do. I love meeting people. I love hosting. I love holding a room together. I don't know how far it's going to go. Let me see what happens here. That then naturally, accidentally led into coaching female speakers and the Female Speakers Conference, because as an MC, I was just introducing so many men, and I thought, why are these panels never more mixed? Why am I going to a business event? Tech events or industries in which you just naturally don't find so many women, I could almost understand. But events like business, I'm like, why am I at this event and I just cannot see as many women on the stage? So I asked the question, And the most interesting response I got to the question was that organizers find female speakers harder to find. I thought, oh, what a load of rubbish. that that can't be the case. What an absolute load of rubbish. Well, I discovered it for myself when we did the first conference. We did the first female speakers conference, and I'm looking at the way that women were pitching themselves or their online profile. So I would get these women who would fill in the application form to be a speaker, and I get really excited. And then I would do what I would naturally do, which, by the way, is what any event organizer would do. I'd get on Google and I'd search. And what I found just did not seem to map up to this amazing story they told me in their application. And so what I'd find is that I would then have this doubt where I was really excited. Now I'm not so sure. So it's almost like if somebody tells you there's this amazing hotel and it's really, really great, and you go and look at the website and it's got shoddy photos on it and it just looks really dated. And then you start questioning whether the hotel is that good. Because it just doesn't add up. And I was just seeing this as a regular occurrence. So the conference itself is very much focused on the business of speaking, and the mentoring I do with women is less about what your message is per se, because you can have a great message and a really beautifully honed talk and still not make any money from speaking if you don't know the industry, if you don't understand what bookers are looking for, if you don't understand what sells in this industry. It can be very hard to translate that into a career of any description. And so my heart broke. I was like, I need to help these people. So the short answer is it wasn't, I stumbled into it. I really did stumble into it. So for me, it's less about speaking. It's more about understanding there's an industry in which people have a real message that they can put out, which will have an impact for hundreds, thousands, millions of people. You just don't know who's watching, especially nowadays in the digital age. And learning how to use that properly means that rather than being somebody who's kind of flapping about with this message that you want to get out into the world, you actually have the capability of really having an impact. It's kind of the difference between writing a book and you have 100 people read your book, or writing a bestseller in which you know that thousands and millions of people have read and consumed your content, and your content has been transformational on that sort of level. And so the work I'm doing with people is to say, you've got a message, you've got a talk, you know exactly who you want to impact. Now let's go and do it in a way that's actually going to work, which means the difference between anybody can write a book, right? Without a coach, you can sit down, write a book and self-publish. But if you don't know how to distribute it because you don't understand the publishing industry, you'll have all of these books, but hardly anybody sees them. So you don't really get the impact you're after. And it's similar to speaking. If you don't understand what the industry is looking for, then you'll have these really great talks. But what I see happens with a lot of women is this level of frustration gets built because it's like, why am I not getting paid? So I help them address that problem. Like, why are you not getting paid? Well, here are the things that you can do that'll make it easier for you to get found, which makes it easier for you to spread your message, which makes it easier for you to have a bigger impact.
So you think it's possible to live as a professional speaker, just to travel through the world and speak?
It is. I mean, I have clients who that's their business. I have clients who are making 6-7 figures from speaking alone. So it's absolutely possible. I think the biggest challenge I see is that people have seen, oh, there's these speakers on big stages, and they then take that vision of speaking on as if that's what speaking is going to look like for them. Not everybody would actually love to be speaking on large stages and traveling that much. That means your business is sharing your message. Your product is the message. For a lot of women I work with, they're coaches and consultants. And so they're coming from this heart-centered place where they love working with individuals. They're not necessarily wanting to write talks and keynotes for corporates. It's a different sector. It's a completely different way of doing things. And the people who are making top dollar from speaking alone are normally speaking for large corporate organizations, which therefore means they have a message that speaks to business. Now, that's not to say you can't make a good living from speaking if you have a message that speaks to individuals or small business owners. It just means that it's a different business model. And I think the first starting point always in building a career as a speaker is to understand, are you a speaker first and a coach second, or are you a coach first and a speaker second, and your speaking is a sales funnel? Because if you have clients, right, if you have one-to-one coaching clients, it is a pain in the proverbial to have to rearrange those calls all the time because somebody's booked you and now you're in a different time zone. I'm speaking from painful experience, because that much traveling and flight time, and then you still have to have the energy to get on a call and deliver to your clients. For some people, once they understand the industry, they kind of shift what they want to do as a speaker. And it's now no longer about speaking on all of these stages globally and that being the main source of income. It's now about getting on the right stages to increase their impact so that they can have a bigger business. Because let's put it this way, those speakers who are speaking on who are traveling the world and speaking on lots of stages and running a coaching business at the same time, they're doing so because they have a really robust team. So if you take like a Tony Robbins, for example, he could speak all around the world the whole time. His business still keeps running. But if you haven't yet built that team, every time you get on a plane, your business goes on pause. And so you kind of have to think, what are you doing right now? What's the real focus? And that's not to say one or the other. It's to say understand the industry and the sector and your objective first, so that you can actually fulfill both sides of it. And I think often there's, in my experience with most of my clients who come to me, they want one thing, we talk it through, and they then go, actually, I think I'm just speaking to grow my business right now. I couldn't support traveling, 7 times a year, let alone twice a month. I wouldn't be able to do it. My business would go down the path.
Yes, but so your teaching is not only for this professional speaker. It's that everyone needs to use this presentation, self-presentation. It could be only how you speak on, I don't know, Instagram or something.
Yeah, I think the way I look at speaking is, as a business owner, it is one of the most effective marketing tools that you can have, because often people will look at a free speaking engagement and say, oh, well, they're not paying me my worth. All that story. They're not paying me what I'm worth. Who are these people taking advantage of me? I look at it as an opportunity to get in front of my ideal clients and make some sales. And it's cost me no money, right? It's unlike Facebook ads. If I can have a talk that compels people to action, that grows my audience and grows my impact, it's a very, very good marketing tool for the person who loves to do it. It's finding the balance. And you don't need a stage of 2,000 people. You can get in front of 30 people and convert clients. I mean, I've taken free speaking engagements before and made thousands of pounds off the back of it, because what happens is I have a high-end product that's available at the time, and I'm inviting people to apply. And those applications are a lot higher than when I send out an email, percentage-wise, like a lot higher than when I send out an email, because they're there. They can talk to me. They have a sense of my personality. Online, I have to have so many more touch points with the person to build up that trust. I'm able to build trust so much quicker when I'm in person. And so if you're growing a business, it's definitely something to consider, not necessarily to become a world-renowned international speaker. Perhaps that's where you'll end up. But to have speaking as a tool to grow your business, I think it's so underutilized at the moment. And you can use it in multiple ways, whether it's in person, online, through webinars, understanding how to refine your message and understanding what your audience needs. It's a great place to go do market research because they're all there. So you can ask them, like, what's your pain points? And, get so much more information. But often, I don't know why women are looking at it like, you're not paying you my worth. And I'm like looking at it like, it's an opportunity to get in front of my ideal client, learn more about them, connect with them, and build a really deep relationship super quick so that I bring in really great quality leads. And if you can flick the switch and thinking about it, I think there's a lot to be gained.
Wow, that's so inspirational. Can you please tell us more about this your program where you teach all these skills?
So I have a number of different programs that I run. I have a Facebook group called World Class Female Speakers. You can pop in there and check it out. I can also share with you a link to a what do I call it? A speaker marketing blueprint, which talks you through how to use each speaking engagement to grow your profile. It's exactly what I did that allowed me to grow my business in 18 months, really quickly, from like totally unknown to introducing Monica Lewinsky and a whole host of other really well-known celebrities, getting testimonials from the ex-CEO of Unilever, like all of that stuff that just looks really good. And not only does it look good, it just makes getting the next booking and getting a paid booking a lot easier. So you can go there, download that for absolute free. And then I run a series of, I guess my signature program is a program called the Find Speaking Gigs Incubator. It's a 2-month program in which I really teach women how to find perfect for you speaking engagements, how to whether that's paid engagements, whether that's engagements that you can go to grow your audience, but really starting from a clear understanding of the industry. And because I worked in sales for like 8 years, I set up your sales process. There's like nowhere to hide. I have 2 days in person with you. Press here, click here, move that there. Because I don't want people to have excuses. I've leveraged all of my experience where I started doing this for myself at first. I made a whole host of errors. I got excited. I sent crap emails. And so it's about setting up that cadence of, if getting on stages is important to you, you do it by asking. It's similar to growing a coaching business. You don't get to sit at home, do zero marketing, have zero sales calls, and then complain that you don't have any clients. So as a speaker, it's no different. You don't get to sit at home, contact nobody, put nothing out, do no marketing, have no sales calls, and then say you don't know how to find speaking engagements. You just don't get to do it. So that program is really very much designed for the person who wants to scale up, finding speaking engagements, really using it either to grow their business or to grow that arm of their business, to grow their other business, like their coaching or consulting business, or to grow as a speaker and really kind of bed down, this is my speaking business. But the best thing to do with me is like, just get in touch, jump on a call. And because I customize stuff, I'm like, what do you need? I have a number of different programs and I'll work out where you're at and then, give you options based on that.
That's great. That's very useful. Thank you very much, Lovelda. Is there something, some message you want to share with our audience as like last words?
Yeah, I think the biggest message for me is, so I'm a huge, I guess somewhere in my core, I'm a bit of a raging feminist, and not a raging feminist in so much as, women deserve things more than men, but in so much as I think we should have equal opportunities, and I want to see diversity. I happen to pick the gender card, but it could just as easily be diversity in race, ethnicity. Ethnicity and race are the same thing. Ability, sexuality, it doesn't matter. I like the idea of inclusion and diversity, and stages are where I set my time. The world is turning where there are more invitations and more opportunities available. If you have ever wanted to speak on stage as a woman, now is the best time. The UN sustainability goals are really putting a focus, more of a spotlight on getting more diversity in various different areas. Organizers are actively looking to get a better gender diversity on their stages. The main thing, though, is you're still hard to find. And so for the woman who is willing to put the work in to build their profile, and that's work I do with people as well, to put themselves out there to find those speaking engagements, now is a really, really amazing time for you to grow your impact very quickly on a stage. But you need to get your head down and do the work. It's not a time for hiding. And the work that I do with women, at least, also sets you up in your business. It's not any different. Being visible, putting yourself out there, learning how to sell, it's not fundamentally, it's not any different for different parts of your business. Some of the particulars change in terms of how you're approaching people in the industry specifics, but the principles are exactly the same.
Great. Thank you very much, Lovelda. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more interviews like this. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.